Well, without giving away too much, 13 has kind of come and gone a few times in the years for different personal reasons, and there are a few good reasons for her not to be working anymore as a doctor. She's had a disease for a number of years, and she doesn't have necessarily that many years left, at least as a healthy person. So she's really made a sacrifice to stay working in the hospital this long, saving other people's lives rather than focusing on her own health. So at this point, she's struggling a little bit with that dilemma and how she's going to spend the rest of her years. But of course, it's always up to House. You know, their fates are controlled by this one person. And no matter how much he struggles and drives them crazy and gets himself thrown in jail, he's still the most compelling and interesting dynamic person to work for. And so they all really enjoy it, including 13. So it is certainly a struggle for her to decide what to do with her life, and ultimately it is resolved for her. House always wants his trusty team there. I mean, when I joined the show, it was when he was still getting over not having his original team, and then he slowly broke in the new people, and then now he's struggling again and trying to break in some new people. And that's, you know, technically how it would work in a hospital. A fellowship only lasts a few years, so it makes sense logically. But to House, it's kind of infuriating because he spends a lot of time training his people to respond to his particular technique. And he doesn't like losing those people. We're like little trained monkeys. And it's hard to train us all over again. Well, you know, it's been an extraordinary time on the show for me. My work has gotten so much better from being on this show, from learning from Hugh and all the other actors and our amazing writing staff. So it's a strange feeling to think that I won't be coming here every morning, but all I feel is gratitude for the opportunities they've given me. I mean, my film career is thanks to House. So I don't see it as any sort of kind of launching pad. I see it as a chapter, and a really important chapter in my life, and one that will affect me for the rest of my career. My lab coat. I have the greatest lab coat. It like flows in the wind. I purposely sit down very dramatically so that it does a little poof, you know, like Mozart. But I don't know if I'm allowed to take that or anything else with me. For a while we had stethoscopes, and I tried to take those home because that's kind of a fun toy. Then they took them away. Probably someone stole them all. But I don't think I'll take anything with me except amazing memories and friendships. I mean, I have a relationship with everyone here that is sincere and very important to me, and so I look forward to our years together and hopefully opportunities to work together again. I have such a wonderful dynamic with the team, with Omar, Jesse, Peter, you know, and when Cal was here and when Annie was here. I mean, we've had so many different amazing actors on the show, and we spent a lot of time at that outer office table, and all of us, that's where we kind of throw around diagnoses. And those days are really amazing and really fun, and we have such an amazing dynamic between all of us. And I'll miss the abuse, the loving abuse between all of us. But I don't think it's the end of that. I think that we will end up working together again. But, you know, there's a familiarity and a comfort to this cast and this place, and this is our home. And certainly it's a very nurturing place. So I'll miss that feeling.
There's great sadness about the place. You can probably smell it. Well, maybe you can't smell it. Taste it. No, even that. Sense it in some way. There's a great sadness that Olivia is leaving us and moving on. Although it never came as any great surprise to anybody. I mean, you know, Olivia was like a sort of trail, a sort of gunpowder fuse that was lit about 15 years ago. So everything has been sort of leading up. It's quite natural that she would take the path that she's taking, and good luck to her. And everybody here wishes her, you know, the absolute best of luck in the many exciting opportunities she's obviously going to she has now and will continue to have. But, you know, it's very sad that because she's a wonderful person to work with, very, very bright, very, very hard-working, extremely funny, basically much, much nicer than someone like Olivia Wilde needs to be. And I think you know what I'm saying. In this world, and particularly in this town, people blessed in that way are given a sort of, they have a sort of margin of behaviour, as it were. And Olivia is a real delight to be around, and we will miss her very, very much. But, you know, as I say, it was fairly, one could see it coming. One could see it coming. She's obviously headed for great things. In this episode, episode 3, House is, he's sort of shuffling his own deck of cards, as it were. He has these characters that he hasn't quite slotted into particular roles. He's the characters of Park and Adams. He's yearning for his old. I was going to say whipping dogs, but that's not quite right. But Chase and Taub, he wants back because although he bullies them both, treats them appallingly, he does, underneath it all, respects their intellects and their gifts very much, and needs them. He needs those gifts, and he does know that, and would admit it to them. But at the same, so he's shuffling the old and the new, and trying to maneuver a way of getting his old team back, and trying to make sense of a new team. And in the middle of all of that, he decides that he will make one last throw of the dice to 13 to try and bring her back into the fold. Because again, her intellect and her gifts and her instincts are very necessary to him. You know, she is operating on the sort of level that House needs to have around him to provoke the kinds of solutions that he's looking for.